Hey guys, it's Julie here with TipRanks, and today we're taking a look at 3 strong buy ETFs with big exposure to Nvidia. So let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome back. Thank you all so much for being here, and TGI Friday. This past year has been the year of Nvidia. As they continue to lead the charge in the AI revolution, the stock has gained over 200%, and that momentum doesn't seem to be slowing down. They've continued to be a big buzz in the media, especially following their 10-for-1 stock split earlier this week. So a lot of people are wanting a piece of this Nvidia pie. So today I wanted to look at some ETFs that have big positions in Nvidia, but will also give investors some exposure and diversification to other hot tech names. And to find these ETFs, I simply came over to the Nvidia page over on TipRanks and scrolled down here to More, where you can find ETF exposure. This gives us a list of all ETFs that hold the Nvidia stock, which has over 1,000 results. We're going to take a look at a couple different metrics here, starting off with the percentage weight in the ETF. And just before we dive into this first ETF, this is your friendly reminder that if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and that you're subscribed to the channel as well. Now, the first ETF we're looking at is the VanEck Semiconductor ETF. It trades under the ticker SMH, currently priced above $265 per share. It has gained 74% over the past year, climbing 22% in the last 3 months, and its expense ratio comes in at 0.35%. As the ETF's name suggests, they are focused on companies involved in semiconductor production and equipment. They seek to replicate as closely as possible the price and yield performance of the MVIS US-listed Semiconductor 25 Index. This is intended to track the overall performance of companies involved in semiconductor production and equipment. So this ETF does not have a very large holdings count. It is quite focused in on these semiconductor companies, but it is no surprise that Nvidia holds the largest position. Taking a look at the holdings, the count comes in at 26, with the top 10% making up 75%. Their total assets are just shy of $23 billion, and in that number one position, of course, is Nvidia. Their stock makes up nearly 25% of this ETF's weight, with a market value of $5.78 billion. In our second spot, we have Taiwan Semiconductor holding over 12%. Next goes to Broadcom, then Qualcomm, Micron Technology, and other big names down the list. When we take a look down below at our sector breakdown, this is 100% focused on technology in the United States. And the ETF has been gaining popularity among smart portfolio investors lately. Looking at all investors, 0.9% of portfolios hold the ETF, and that has increased almost 8% over the last 30 days. While top investors, we have 2% of portfolios holding it, which has increased 4.8%. Now, while Wall Street analysts don't actually rate ETFs themselves, TipRanks is able to look at the analyst ratings on all of the holdings within the ETF and come up with an average rating and price target based on that. And this one does come in with a strong buy consensus. That is based on 21 buy ratings and 5 holds out of the 26 holdings. When we look down below as well, it'll show us some of the stocks with the highest upside potentials, some big tech names like Marvell, Intel, and AMD, and the ones with the highest downside potential here as well. Our second ETF is smaller in size as far as assets under management goes, has a few more holdings, and also a similar focus on semiconductor companies. That is Strive US Semiconductor ETF. This trades under the ticker SHOC, currently priced at $51.45. This ETF has grown about 50% overall in the past year, and over the last 3 months has gained over 19%. Their expense ratio comes in at 0.4%. Similar to the VanEck ETF, this one does seek exposure to U.S. semiconductor companies. It is a passively managed ETF that seeks broad market exposure to the U.S.-listed semiconductor sector. They offer concentrated exposure to the semiconductor sector through a cost-efficient index product, and they say they aim to unlock the value in the semiconductor sector by mandating companies to focus on excellence. Now, this ETF does just have about $78.5 million in assets under management with 32 holdings, and Nvidia dominates about a third of their portfolio. Their top 10 holdings make up about 77% overall, and well cemented in that number one spot is Nvidia with a weight of 31.8% and a market value of nearly $25 million. Second to that, at nearly 11%, is ASML Holdings, followed by AMD, Micron, Applied Materials, and Broadcom. Down below, we can see, again, mostly weighted in technology here at 99.25% and 100% in the United States. And when we look at the ETF's heat map, you can really see what a large portion Nvidia makes up of the portfolio, taking over this entire third side here. Looking at the 32 holdings within the ETF, it does overall come in as a strong buy. That is based on 27 buys and 5 holds. The average price target comes in just shy of $55 for an upside of 6.5%. And once again, down below, we have our list of ratings here with the highest upside potentials and some of the biggest downsides. Now for our third ETF, instead of looking at the percent of weight in their portfolio, I wanted to look at the overall market value of their Nvidia position. So here, back on the Nvidia page with the ETF exposure, we went by market value here instead of the percent weight in ETF. And here we got some that had billions of dollars in the Nvidia stock, so we narrowed it down to one with a strong buy. And that brought us to our biggest ETF today with the Vanguard Growth ETF. It trades under the ticker VUG, currently priced at $371. Now they have grown 32% over the past year, and in the last 3 months have climbed 9.8%. They have the lowest expense ratio of the day at just 0.04%. This ETF has a much broader investment goal compared to the more focused semiconductor ETFs that we looked at earlier. The Vanguard Growth ETF tracks a U.S. large-cap growth index and provides a convenient way to match the performance of many of the nation's largest growth stocks. And with that focus, the fund does have over 200 holdings, many big names that you will definitely recognize. Their total assets under management comes in at about $132.5 billion, and we're still largely weighted in our top 10 here at 57.8%. Now, Nvidia does not hold the largest position here, but isn't far down the list at number 3. In the top position, we have Microsoft at 12.5%, Apple just shy of 11%, and then Nvidia here at about 8.9%, and a notable market value of $19.5 billion. Also in the top 10 here are companies like Amazon, Google, Meta Platforms, Eli Lilly, Tesla, and Visa. Now, when we look down below here, we're going to see a lot more diversity, still focused in the United States here and largely in technology at 47%, but we also have a mix of other companies, including consumer cyclical, communication services, healthcare, financial, and more. So when we look at the ETF's heat map here, we have a lot more companies looking a lot more quilt-like here. We have our big names here in the technology sector, but of course, many others making up the ETF. And looking at all analyst ratings on those 201 holdings, we still come in as a strong buy. With 172 overall buys, 28 holds, and 1 sell, the average price target comes in at $406 for an upside of 9.3%. Some of our biggest upsides listed here and the biggest downsides on the right. So those are 3 ETFs that all have some notable exposure to the Nvidia stock, plus some other big names. Now, of course, there was over 1,000 on that list of the ETF exposure for Nvidia, so lots of great choices out there. Let me know your thoughts on these 3 ETFs or what other ones you're loving lately. I always appreciate hearing from you guys. Please keep in mind these videos are never a suggestion to buy or sell any specific stock, so please make sure you always do your own due diligence and research. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you back here next time.